We're going to try to look at some Ravens game plans and try to get into the head of the Ravens coaching staff in terms of early game, first and second down calls. I'm not going to go through an entire game. I'm going to pick a really important game from this season and one that was obviously very disappointing for us, the loss to the Bengals in week 7. And I'm going to look at the first 3 possessions, pretty much all first and second down plays there. I think we came out of those first 3 possessions with 3 points, a field goal on the third possession. And just look for tendencies, things that maybe the Ravens coaches were trying to attack. And then I'm going to try to apply a grade. So I know it's a small sample size, but when I say early game, I think it's important to go into a game with plays set up to attack certain coverages in certain situations that the defenses have shown you on film. And I know we got a BS statement at some point during 2021, maybe it was prior to the regular season last year, about how we don't know how teams are going to line up against us. We don't know what teams are going to show. And that to me is really, I do not agree with that at all. I reject that statement completely. People who play cover 3, 50% of the time, are going to play a lot of cover 3. People who play cover 3 4% of the time are not going to suddenly come into a game with the Ravens and play cover 3 60% of the time. Quarters style teams like the Bengals, with corners who play off and safeties who play off 10, 12, 13 yards, but read quickly and come downhill as quick as they can, are going to play quarters coverages. The Bills are a similar team in that mold. I'm trying to limit my lead-ins to 2 minutes or less here. I'm pushing that barrier. What I'd like to do is get into the plays. Some of these I've broken down on film already, to be honest with you, in my previous channel. What I'm going to do is just go over down and distance, personnel, how Cincinnati's matching up, and then maybe what we were thinking. I really did not like this play call, to be honest with you. 1st and 10, first possession, 22 personnel, and the Bengals have taken their 3-4 personnel, and they've morphed it into this like 4-4-6-2 look. So when I say 3-4, what I mean is 3 down tackles, 2 outside linebackers. Now I know Hendrickson and Hubbard, listed as DNs, whatever, but they're very multiple. Inside backers right there, 57 and 55. And then 24, I think it's Bell, really versatile player if you ask me. I like that guy a lot. Walks in the box. So it's now become a 4-4 where they've walked up the outside linebackers on the edge, wide 9 techniques. You got a ghost here because there's no tight end on him. So it looks like a 6-2. And look, good players defeat blocks. We've potentially got a good football play here, if you ask me. I'm not sure what Ricard is doing, but if we get Wilson blocked up to the front side, we've got the makings of a good football play. I don't like the play, though. I don't like the call, to be honest with you. It's power read, and we're reading Hendrickson. Hendrickson expands. I guess power read, some people call it inverted veer. That's what we would call it. But to me, it's power read because we're pulling the QB power read because we're pulling the guard, pulling this backside guard. Everybody else is blocking down. When they shifted over, this D tackle or DN 65, who's a tough player, is now got to get down blocked by our tight end, Tomlinson. And Tomlinson can't hold him, and he ends up spinning out and making a play. Simultaneous to that, Hendrickson is unblocked, steps across the line, and what a lot of 3-4 outside linebackers are taught is to be on the outside shoulder of the fullback and then condense the block inside. So watch the path of Ricard versus the steps that Hendrickson does. Hendrickson initially is going to step down. He sees Ricard's path, so he's going to widen. Now, what I don't understand is why. I understand why Ricard is trying to widen him, but I just wish Ricard had undercut this a little better and have been able to get up to Logan Wilson. Because if he can get up to Logan Wilson and actually block him, and we've got a good football play. If we were able to sustain this down block here by Tomlinson, but from an overall scheme perspective, I'm not a fan of it. And of course, that's looking back with months of hindsight. To be honest with you, I'm not a fan of the jokers. I don't know where we're going with jokers. Jokers is 2 running backs next to the quarterback who's in the shotgun, and one of them to the left and one of them to the right. I don't know where we're going because we're not a run threat with this guy. It's not a true jokers. Really, it's not. It's just a fullback on one side and a halfback on the other. It's not like we have 2 run threats. We don't have 2. If we did this with Gus Edwards and J.K., That would be kind of interesting to me because now we would have two guys who we could run the ball to either side. Of course, neither one of them is as good of a blocker as Ricard. Ricard doesn't, to me, doesn't do a great job blocking in this video that I'm going to show you tonight. I think he could have cut this a little shorter on Hendrickson and gone untouched right up to Logan Wilson. And if we sustain this block, then the pulling guard is going to wrap and get to Bell, who again I think is a hell of a football player, but he certainly be at a mismatch with Zeitler right there. As it stands, I think it's a 2-yard gain. All right, second play. 2nd and 8. Again, we motion to jokers. And Andrews is now off the field. And we've got Tomlinson on again. So he switched sides. If you remember on the last play, Tomlinson was on our left. Along with Andrews up top. Where's that Oliver? That's Andrews. Sorry, my bad. Second play, jokers again. So we're in 21 personnel because we got 2 backs and then 1 tight end. And now look at the look the Bengals are in. Very multiple team. They're in a 4-3 personnel look, and so now we're calling Hendrickson and Hubbard DNs, and then 3 inside backers. And then of course we know they like to have 2 high safeties almost at all times because they're a quarter split field coverage team. It's a 3-step out to Bateman at the top side of the screen. And something's up. The timing is off. Either Bateman, doesn't cut it good enough here, quick enough, or Lamar's throw is a little bit off. But in any case, you can see this corner. And I do like attacking the flats, so this isn't bad. I do like attacking the flats because these guys play off. But he's just reading quarterback. He's not reading Bateman at all. We haven't made him respect Bateman. He's reading quarterback. He drives on it. To me, that's a quite easy play for a corner who's athletic as the Bengals cornerbacks are. You can see how they're lined up in a 4-3 again. A Sam, a Mike, and then a Will linebacker who's stacked over the tackle, which is typical to be stacked over the weak side tackle in a 4-3 structure. Incomplete pass. And we did convert the first down. Okay, Lamar made a heck of a play, scrambled. We convert the first down. So we got a new set of downs. We're going to go back into the pistol now. We're in 21 personnel, bunch right, and we go motion with Marquise Brown. We go up top to Brown on the wheel. We'll let it run through. I have broken this down at least twice in other videos, so I'm not going to talk about the minutia of it necessarily, but I have gone on record before as talking about Duvernay's route. I think Lamar throws this football, as he's deciding to throw the football now, hopefully the resolution is such that you can see it. This safety is opening his hips to Duvernay's route, all right? But as Lamar made the decision, this safety had not opened up yet. Certainly if Lamar was throwing the football 3/4 of a second later and he sees this safety opening up to the side, he would understand that he's got a wider area near the sideline to throw it to. I think Lamar's trying to be perfect with this throw, and the reason why I think he is because Duvernay's route, to me, isn't far enough into the hash to hold this safety more towards the center of the field. This safety's being held by Andrews' route, so we don't care about him. Now, from a Ravens play call perspective, if you've stuck around this long, I think we're being impatient. I think we're frustrated already, and we're trying to go up top. We've attacked them short. We attacked a little bit with the run, QB power read off the jump, and it didn't work. We only got 2 yards. I think we're impatient. I really do. I think we're impatient here. Marquise Brown catches this football. He runs his route out of bounds, but that is where the ball is thrown. I'm not showing you the end zone angle. And one of the advantages to what the Bengals do, to be honest with you, switching coverages. Watch the motion here. You get no movement by the inside linebackers, okay? The corner, if you have the flat, you have the wheel in most defenses. So he's running behind Marquise Brown, and he's beat, but he's not beat by 5 yards. So they didn't move the inside linebackers at all. About 3 plays from now in this video, I'm going to show you a totally different coverage, a totally different way that the Bengals responded to motion by Marquise Brown. They're multiple in their coverages, and I think that sometimes gives us problems. I think it did in this game. That is not to Greg Roman's point, though. I think it was Greg Roman about different teams giving us different looks on film. That's just football. People using different coverages to try to confuse the quarterback during the play, and we've got to give our guys the skills to read those things, mid-play, at the beginning of the play. Second down, we're in 22 personnel. Oliver motions across. Really do not like this play call at all. Another QB power read or inverted veer, if you will. Great read and run through by Logan Wilson. Don't get me wrong. Not a huge fan of us running this for the second time in, I guess, 5 plays. 2 times in the first 5 plays, we've run the QB power read or inverted veer. And I think that once he comes through here, I think either Oliver or Ricard messes their block up. They end up both going toward the same guy. The strong side inside linebacker, the front side inside linebacker, which in this case is the Will. Bateman goes to stalk the corner. To me, the guy that we want to leave unblocked is the strong safety. And instead we leave the Mike unblocked. So there's an issue here with the blocking execution. And again, I question whether it's Ricard or Oliver. Ricard is outside releasing, and now look at Hendrickson. He's doing something different than he did on the play where he stepped down and then got to Ricard's outside shoulder. Now he's letting Ricard cross his face and get outside of him. Ricard is clearly hunting this Will linebacker 59, but the problem is Oliver's blocking him. We have 2 guys, angling for one player, and the Mike linebacker gets an easy run through. Now, Le'Veon Bell is not the fastest guy in the world, but we want to block the Mike. You got to block the Mike, guys. I mean, that's the football that I learned. You got to block the Mike. If you don't block the Mike, and it's not a successful play, theoretically, the Mike linebacker should be able to make plays. Now, look what they've done, though. The Bengals know what's up. Their Sam is over here in the strong side A gap. Their Mike is over here in the weak side B gap. They're kicked over. I think they're lining up off Ricard. I do. They know we're not going to lead block with Le'Veon Bell and run the football with Ricard over here. We're kind of doing them a favor if we do that, right? I'd be okay if you did that occasionally. I mean, hey, Le'Veon Bell can block. He's a good blocker, tough, hard-nosed football player. So, okay. But they're lining up off of Ricard. They're using our tendency for Ricard to line up and outflank us. So if the Mike was 2.5 yards, if the Mike was over here by alignment, then maybe Le'Veon Bell has a chance here. As it stands, Le'Veon Bell has no chance. Not a huge fan of this play concept at all, and I don't think that we executed the blocking scheme well. Now, having said that, give it a minute or two, and I'll get to a play where I think the Ravens are trying to adjust. All right, second possession, because I think we failed to convert the next third down that I'm not showing you. I'm not showing you third downs. Again, we're going jokers, 21 personnel, and we've got Andrews in. And first of all, I really like this football play. We motion back to pistol, counter option. Didn't gain a lot of yards. We're not able to sustain our block on the D tackle. Again, I'll let the end zone angle run. I think it's the same guy as last time, 65. Underrated football players there. And you can see Powers has fallen down. I think this guy did a little cheap move, did a little grab and pull, so he pulled Powers down. Veteran move, smart. Pulled Powers down, and now he can move and go either way. Lamar is reading this D end. And I think we have adjusted, so great, good for our staff, we've adjusted. It's a little bit of a low bar for an NFL coaching staff, though. Again, when we had Ricard here, and before the back motioned, where would they overshift? Where would our tendency be to run the football? To the side behind Ricard, right? So we're going away from that tendency now by running counter option. Again, we're going to read Hubbard. Hubbard steps down, stays square. So Lamar correctly here reads it as a give. The blocking scheme to the front side doesn't hold up. McCarry's getting through to the front side inside linebacker. But Powers can't hold his block on 65. Even though now we would have a seam here. We would have a good play if we were able to finish that block by Powers. I'm going to be honest with you guys, though. I've seen us run this play for the first time against the Colts in 2020 on the road. I think it should be an auto keep by Lamar, period. Because if this linebacker is keen, what he should, he's got a pulling guard and a pulling tackle. Ricard releasing opposite. It's a great football play. I actually really like this football play. I would prefer this to running QB power on the first QB power read, on the first play of the game, and then QB power read on the fifth play of the game, the one I just showed you, I think, right? I would prefer this play. Because look what happens numbers wise. We pull the guard and tackle. This guy right here has gone down the line of scrimmage for the give, which is what he should do. That's the fundamental way to play it. Lamar keeps his football. We block up this linebacker. We block up the Mike. You got to block the Mike. Lamar running towards the sideline. We got to be able to win this block, and then you're going to have a safety eventually. That's one of the advantages to the way the Bengals do things. They keep a too high structure generally. Now they're in a they've gone cloud here, so they've brought a corner back and then rolled a safety up to essentially make it look like a 4-4. Fine. I think the counter option play should almost be an auto keep for Lamar, and let's go ahead and run it behind Ricard and behind. And again, we've got a stand-up tight end here, Andrews, who goes and gets 59. Got to get this guy blocked, and then Lamar's going to outrun the DN. Do I want to do that, 3-4 times a game next year? No, I do not. Do I want to have this play in our staple of plays to use? Absolutely. It's a key breaker. Makes it difficult on the mic. Lamar could read the mic, to be honest with you. That DN should step down. That's what he should do. That's the fundamental way to play it. That was the fifth play I showed you, and that was from the second possession. Second possession again. And we're in jokers again. And it's pass. And I don't mind this play as an adjustment to the play I showed you before. Remember the play I showed you where Brown ran the wheel up the sideline up here? And I said Duvernay's route I thought needed to come more at the safety, or more towards the inside of the hash. To hold that safety, give Lamar a bigger area to drop it in. Think of like a golf shot that you're trying to drop, 15 yards short of the hole. You got to have a landing area. I don't mind this play because we're releasing Brown inside. I think you might have two bad routes here, to be honest with you. I really do. I think and I've talked about this before. Having said that, I'm still not a huge fan of the route design. I'll get back to that in a second. I do like the protection scheme. We've got a 7-man protection scheme. Actually, 8 in the beginning, and then I think this running back leaks out into the flats, but he ends up being covered. Tyson Williams, he ends up being late. I'm okay with the protection scheme, except for we've got Tomlinson on. We're doing nothing to hold this backside safety. We're not giving them any work on the backside. I understand sometimes you got to run 2 receiver routes, whatever. I just don't understand why we're on the, we're on the 7th play of the game, if I did my math right, maybe the 8th play. I could be wrong there. And Mark Andrews, I've got Mark Andrews off the field 3 times. One of the plays I didn't show you here, but why? Maybe he was sick. Maybe he had, something was going on or whatever, so maybe that's the reason why. But I don't understand why Andrews is off the field so much early on. We're not giving them any threat away from Brown and Bateman. When Tomlinson was on the field, again, it's good protection. We've got Lamar an area to throw the football from, a clean platform generally. And by the way, this ball is intentionally overthrown. Lamar recognizes that Marquise Brown's not open. Let's go over to routes real quick. Bateman, to me, his route has got to be like a wheel that gets to the outside shoulder of this corner. I talked about it in a video like a month ago. Him being on the inside, him running to the inside of this corner. What I mean is he's going to run to this side of this corner. That allows the corner to pass it off to the safety. And then the corner can take Brown's, again, sloppy out route. Really takes him a long time to get out of that turn. He should be there now. He should be moving toward being available for the football now. Lamar has nowhere to go with this football, if you ask me. This corner is able to make a play on it, to cover it well, because Brown's route is slow developing, let's put it that way. We've certainly seen him run much better outs than that, deeper outs than that. And Bateman, I think, runs a route to the inside of that corner. He should be running it to the outside. We're not isolating the safety. We're not attacking the safety. We're attacking the corner. We're attacking the off corner. That's what we're attacking. We're not attacking this guy at all. I think Bateman should be running this outside, forcing the corner to deal with him. Then this is open. We're not occupying this corner with anything. We're letting him cover. We're letting him pass off Bateman to the safety. Now I understand what we're saying. We're saying, oh, Bateman is 2, and he's the one who's running the press vertical, and then he's going in and coming out. I understand that. I get it. But even still, I would prefer just run a wheel. Just run a wheel. Which is how we were trying to attack them anyway. The video is going to be a lot longer than I thought. Hopefully you guys like this kind of thing. All right, 7th play is going to be the first play of the 3rd possession. It's a 1st and 10. We're in bunch pistol again. 21 personnel. The Bengals are in their 4-3 structure, but they've rolled up Jesse Bates into the box, so they've created a 4-4, one high safety look. Let it run. It's an interesting play here, if you ask me. Lamar comes off his read early and then tries to come back to Andrews, and then late comes back to Andrews again and makes a fantastic. It's a great play. All right, point number 1. It's a great play. I appreciate the protection again. We have got 7-man pass pro. We've given Lamar time. He's clearly looking over here, I think, for the wheel to Marquise Brown or the little angled hook snag type route to Bateman. Comes back over here, looks where Andrews is off screen to our right. The offense is left. Nothing's there. Then he's got a opposing team jersey flash in his face. Great throw. Great play. Cool. Having said that, there's a couple of things. We're going to be real picky with this one. Conceptually, I think we're frustrated. I do. This is the first play of the 3rd possession. Now this is an adjustment, though. Let's give credit. We're running this wheel, which was open before. Remember, it was open up on the top side on the first possession. It's open again. And that's against a linebacker. Marquise Brown's got his hand up in the air. He's open. That ball should be thrown. Lamar's looking there. But I don't know if he's looking at Bateman. It doesn't even seem like he's really considering throwing the ball to Brown. If you're seeing the safety here middle of the field, you got to go. Throw it. That's confusing to me because he had so many chances last year, so many times last year where we did go up top and we did attempt to throw the ball downfield, including the one I showed you from the first possession. The second thing that I will try to illustrate from this play that is a little frustrating to me is I mentioned it on the first time I showed you Brown's wheel route. If you motion and the linebackers don't move, it's quarters for the Bengals. I'm talking about. If we motion and a linebacker goes with him, that's man. That's what this is. This is man. Corner is on Andrews, man. Bates is on Ricard, man. Ricard doesn't run a route. Linebacker steps out on Brown, man, and we're man here. What the Bengals do not want to do is they do not want to vacate the middle of the field. When they're in their 2-high structure, they don't want to vacate the deep. They don't want to give up big plays. They want to keep everything in front. Their defensive coordinator's conservative, smart, and their players are very smart too. So, to me, Bateman's route, if it's man, he has to recognize, I need to pick this guy. And I feel like other teams do those things. Other teams create those picks here, somewhere in this area, by running a fake vertical, right? A fake vertical. So run it here, press off, even if the guy jams you up. To me, it looks like Bateman's concerned about getting open on this play instead of what I think he should be concerned about, which is let me get Marquise Brown open. And I'm not saying Bateman's a selfish player. That's coordination. That's coordination of the passing game, and that's coordination of the coaches to the players. I don't know if it's Bateman's fault. I don't know. I really don't know if it's the coach's fault. There's a lot to say about it. Lamar did go off the wheel really quick. I do like the play against their coverage. I do. I'm just concerned that Bateman's route wasn't maximized in terms of being able to pick that inside linebacker and get us even more open for the big play that we were clearly searching for. All right, we've got ourselves a first down. I think this is the 8th play, 1st and 10, 21 personnel, and Andrews is off again. Tomlinson's on. Not sure why. And this was frustrating. We've run this reverse 3 or 4 times against the Bengals since 2019. And twice it did fool Jesse Bates. Not this time. Jesse Bates is the field side safety, sees it immediately, He's here, just so you know. And they are not fooled at all. The D end is there, 96. Bateman is there. We had hit them big on this play. I'm not going to break this play down, but think about our first down plays that I've shown you. Okay. On the second and third possession, you had a wheel concept that was incomplete to Brown up the left sideline. You had a deep out to Brown that was attacking a coverage in a smart way. Cool. And then you have a reverse. What does that tell you about the play calling? To me, I think we're impatient. We're expecting big plays, and it didn't seem like we were willing to move the ball down. It seemed like early we thought we were better than them. That's just an observation I made back then, watching the game live, and one I still kind of hold to. I think we didn't understand how good their defense was, and we were expecting to make more big plays than we did. Now, certainly we did make some big plays. Lamar made most of them, but I think we're frustrated, to be honest with you, at this point. But in any case, that reverse was unsuccessful. Second down play, it's a 2nd and 12, 21 personnel, and Andrews is on. We've got Ricard lined up here. Presumably he's going to stay and block because he can't go in motion. He's lined up on the line of scrimmage. He does block and then release out into the flats. It's a pure cover 2 by the Bengals. If you're looking for a giveaway for cover 2, like a Tampa 2 type giveaway, watch the Mike linebacker. He gets depth. Really, the Mike linebacker in a cover 2 is responsible for the middle of the field deep. So a Tampa 2 is really a cover 3. In some people refer to it as a cover 3. Conceptually, just the Mike linebacker is the guy responsible. But if you're trying to figure out, and he would have more depth than the other 2 inside linebackers, because typically you're talking about a 4-3 structure playing a Tampa 2. You can see the corners are staying flat. Into the flats, the safeties are deep. So that's what most people would refer to as a Tampa 2. Lamar takes the check down to Freeman, 4 or 5 yards. Okay, cool. Let's briefly talk about one thing, though, that I think has to be talked about. And people mention this plenty of times, rightfully so. Watch the route by Andrews and the route by Bateman. I think it has to do with the release of with the release of Andrews. They've run into each other. Whose fault is that? One or both of them? That ain't coach's fault. It's not. I think Andrews is rounding this thing too much. I think what they're trying to do is get Andrews underneath of this guy's eyesight and then bring Bateman in behind it. He's got a mirrored route with Brown. Sorry, I drew that wrong. He's got a mirrored route with Brown. Both kind of like, curls. And I think Bateman's route's not able to develop because he runs into Andrews. Plus the DB gets slight hands on him. But watch both routes by Bateman and Brown. So you got mirrored routes there, but Brown didn't have a second receiver to deal with. I think Andrews' route's got to be underneath of that guy to hold his eyes and help hold him and let Bateman work in behind him. But he's a well-trained inside linebacker. Lamar had to go to the check down because nobody was open. That's good. All right, last play. And this one's instructive. I think this is the last play. Maybe it's 2 more. The Bengals are tired of all this stuff, and they're going to just bring pressure. They bring 6, and they've got a blown coverage. And I think, to be honest with you, I'm okay with the design of this. I am. I love when we run the backside X under. We just got to throw it to him sometimes. Not in this situation because Wilson's running with him, and Wilson's a pretty good football player. I'm actually working on a video on him too. He's a pretty good football player. But Andrews, if you ask me, shows a lack of awareness. You got to blitz off this edge. He probably can't know that this guy's blitzing. But I mean, come on, you got a blitzing guy from the area that you're supposed to run your route into. So again, look at this linebacker. It's nickel safety. Excuse me. And Andrew's route is coming in here. It was generally in that area that this guy would defend if it was a zone defense. And in my opinion, there's got to be a better job of our guys running a hot route, breaking off his stem a little bit, instead of veering in so far, to recognize it and just go out into the open space. It's there. That's a poor job by him, if you ask me. That ball's not really that poorly thrown by Lamar. You'll see it from the end zone angle. What kind of grade would you give the early down calls in this game by our offense. We're talking about the play calls. I know I did delve into design some, and look, certainly I probably missed some elements of it. I've done so many videos on this game. There's probably too much to say. This video went on quite long. I really think Andrews' feet need to be here. Actually, let me rephrase that. I think his feet need to be shorter. I think he needs to be running a shorter, quicker route, not going so far in towards the linebacker. I understand what he's doing. If I was to give a grade for our early down calls in this game, D plus, C minus. I thought we showed evidence of two adjustments: the wheel route concept, the second time we ran it when Lamar, for whatever reason, didn't throw it to Marquise Brown against that linebacker down on the bottom side of the screen, left to right on the screen, if you remember. I love the counter option play out of the pistol, where Ricard and Andrews will be lead blockers. I have maintained since the first time we ran it against the Colts in 2020 up there on the road that should be auto keep. I've said it multiple times. I understand if the DN runs upfield, now we got an issue. No, we don't. We have Lamar Jackson. We have Lamar Jackson. And if we can block up the front side inside linebacker and the Mike and let Lamar, we've got a 6, 7, 8, 9-yard gain running him to the sideline. Block the corner, block the front side inside linebacker, block the Mike, and it's Lamar versus a D end if he runs upfield. If the guy steps down the way you saw Hubbard do on that play, then Lamar is taking off. He's up the sideline. So that's a good adjustment. I like that play. I do not like the jokers early in the game at all. I thought that our coaches tried to adjust to the way the Bengals were shifting their linebackers toward the side where Ricard was. But it surprises me that we came out in the jokers look so heavy and didn't at least try to attack their nickel a little more. I feel like we got frustrated. When they went with their 6-2 look on the first play of the game, if you ask me, I think that pissed us off. I think that bothered our coaches, and it got under their skin a little bit from the standpoint of who are they to come in here and try to do this? Don't think our play calling did a great job of adjusting on those first two possessions. The third one, a nicer job. And luckily we have Lamar Jackson. He was able to make some plays. We obviously missed one on the last play I showed you there. I think we got to get better at hot routes. Got to get better at adjusting blitzes, shortening up our route some, and getting into the open space that's created when a blitzer attacks off the edge. You guys let me know what you think, what your grade will be. I'd say D plus, C minus for game plan, meaning first and second down plays early in the game, and then adjustments. And again, we're looking at small sample size. We're only looking at 3 possessions, so I'm not grading the entire game. I'm only talking about the first and second down plays I showed you tonight. And obviously this video went on a little longer than I would generally like them to. Appreciate you guys checking it out. Please let me know. Give me some feedback on this idea of looking at early game plays from 2021. We've got a time period now between now and training camp where we don't really have a lot of film to look at. So what can we do? We can certainly look at our offense and our defense and individual players, and I'm doing that too. Appreciate you guys' time. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you've listened this long, please consider subscribing to the channel now, helping to support my work.